boys and girls. Страница 128. March 16, 22. This week's Proverbs. A cat in gloves catches no mice. В перчатках кошка мышей не ловит. Без труда не вытащишь и рыбку из пруда. By doing nothing we learn to do ill. Ничего не делая, мы учимся, как дурно поступать. The clever wife continued. Soon after that, the housekeeper sent for Goban and Jack and said to them, "The king is afraid you will build a fine castle like that for some other person, so he decided to throw you into prison and keep you there for the rest of your life." When the king came the next day, Goban said to him, "We are not able to finish the castle, for we have left a very important tool at home. I must send Jack for it." "No, no," the king said. "Let one of my servants do this." "The tool is very valuable," said Goban. "I cannot trust it to a servant." "Well, then," said the king, "I shall send my own son for it." "All right," said Goban, "let him go. I shall send a letter to Jack's wife telling her where to find the tool." Then he wrote this letter. "I need a secure. You will find it in my big tool chest. The prince who brought this letter must not return without it." After the prince went away, Goban said to Jack, "If your wife is as clever as I think she is, we must not be afraid. This letter will tell her what she must do." The prince very soon came to the house of Goban's seer. Jack's wife read the letter, and then she began to think. "There is no such tool as a secure," she thought, "and that big chest is empty. But the letter says that the prince must not return without that tool. Well, he will not return." Then she said to the prince, "I must ask you to help me to get the tool." "I am ready," answered the prince. Jack's wife led him to the big chest and said, "I shall lift the lid and you try to find the tool." As the prince leaned over the chest, she caught him by the two heels and threw him into the chest and closed the lid. Then she made a few holes in the chest. "Now, prince," she said, "you must tell me what you are going to do with my husband and his father. You will not go home until you have told me everything about it." Then the prince told her that his father was going to throw them into prison. Jack's wife brought some paper and a pen and ink and gave them through the holes to the prince. "Now," she said, "you must write a letter to the king, your father, and tell him that you will never return unless my husband and his father are released." The prince did not answer, but wrote as the woman told him. When the king received the letter, he paid Goban at once for his work and sent him home with Jack. "Well, Jack," said the old man as they walked towards home, "your wife has helped us well, so you must build a castle for her finer than the king's castle." That was what Jack did, and they lived there happily ever after. Little cat. Little cat, as you sat on the mat, did you dream of a mouse or a great rat? "Oh no, not so, for I always dream of a dish full of fish and a bowl full of cream." Everyday English for boys and girls. Страница 128. March 16, 22. This week's Proverbs. A cat in gloves catches no mice.